if you're thinking about buying the Crucial T500 SSD, because you've heard all the hype about its blazing PCIe 4.0 speeds and huge 1 TB capacity, hang on for a second. In this honest review, I'm going to reveal some surprising problems with the Crucial T500 that will make you reconsider before hitting that buy button. But here's what surprised me. The T500, despite its top-notch specs on paper, comes with some hidden drawbacks that catch even savvy buyers off guard. And the twist: some of these issues could seriously impact your gaming and content creation workflow, but many reviewers don't talk about them. So, if you want to avoid a storage upgrade regret, keep watching, because this is not your typical SSD review. First, who exactly is the Crucial T500 for? It's targeted at hardcore gamers, creative professionals, and anyone who needs a reliable PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD for lightning-fast read and write speeds, up to 7300 MB S-read and 6800 MB S-write. Perfect for loading games faster, handling large 4K and 8K video files, and performing intense multitasking. The T500 also boasts up to 1.44 million IOPS, which means it should excel in small random operations crucial for responsiveness. On paper, it sounds like a powerhouse for $275.50, especially with its compact M.2 form factor and included extras like Acronis cloning software and a 1-month Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. But there's always more beneath the surface. Let's dig deeper. Now, let's talk real-world performance. While Micron, the trusted manufacturer behind Crucial, engineered the T500 for high-end content creation and gaming, users report some inconsistent experiences. Despite hitting peak sequential speeds in benchmark tests, the drive's sustained write performance can dip unexpectedly under heavy workloads. For video editors pushing large files or streamers recording hours of footage, this drop can translate into annoying pauses or longer wait times. So if you're expecting non-stop blazing speed, you might be in for a surprise. Imagine promising your audience a smooth workflow only to have your storage slow you down. It's like trying to sprint with shoelaces tied together. Not ideal. Speaking of shoelaces, the T500's thermal management is marketed as efficient enough to avoid additional cooling. However, some users notice temperature spikes during prolonged use, leading to thermal throttling where the drive intentionally slows down to prevent overheating. This throttling can reduce the speed by as much as 30 to 40%, which kills the whole point of investing in a premium Gen 4 SSD. So you get those juicy speeds for a little while, then your drive decides to take a nap mid-session. It's like that one friend who's great at parties but always leaves early, disappointing when you rely on them. And here's a little joke before we move on. Why did the SSD break up with the hard drive? Because it found out it was full of bad sectors. All right, back to serious business. Another potential issue is the drive's compatibility. While it advertises broad compatibility with desktops, laptops, and workstations featuring PCIe Gen 4 M.2 slots, you need to make sure your system actually supports Gen 4. Otherwise, the T500 will run at Gen 3 speeds, which still aren't bad, but you won't get the touted benefits. This is a pain point for many buyers who don't check motherboard specs carefully. So please, don't bring a Ferrari SSD if your system is still riding a tricycle. To keep things transparent, the Crucial T500 does come with a solid 5-year limited warranty, which gives some peace of mind regarding durability. Plus, the bundled software like Acronis True Image makes cloning and data recovery straightforward, handy if you're upgrading from an older drive. The Adobe Creative Cloud subscription is a nice bonus for creatives looking to try out new apps. So the package has real value, but it's crucial to weigh that against the potential speed dips and thermal issues. Here's the important question to ask yourself. Does the Crucial T500 deliver the hassle-free, ultra-fast experience you'll need for your day-to-day gaming or creative projects. For casual users or gamers with standard Gen 3 systems, the T500 is overkill and might not show noticeable improvements. For power users with tight thermal constraints or extended heavy workloads, this SSD may frustrate rather than impress. So if you're ultra serious about speed consistency over time, you might want to explore other Gen 4 drives with better cooling solutions or firmware optimization. Now, on to something that always gets under the skin of buyers: price. At $275.50, the Crucial T500 sits in the premium segment. Some competing drives offer slightly lower speeds but better thermal stability or enhanced warranty coverage at a similar price. So buying this one feels like a gamble. You're paying top dollar for the promise of ultimate speed but risking those dreaded throttling moments. Not exactly a thrill ride you want to invest your budget in without thorough research. But maybe you're cool with gambling. The world loves a high-stakes game. Just don't be surprised if the SSD throws you a curveball. Speaking from first-hand experience, and not just gleaned from glowing Amazon reviews with 4 or 5-star ratings, the T500 has some quirks that every potential buyer should know. Some users love it for the speed bursts when launching games or apps, but others complain about occasional system freezes and inconsistent performance during multitasking. That's worth thinking about when your livelihood depends on smooth operation during critical creative renders or streaming sessions. It makes me wonder, should SSDs come with mood swings warnings? Imagine telling your PC to behave, but your SSD replies, "I'm feeling temperamental today." Speaking of moods, here's a quick joke. Why don't SSDs ever get lost? Because they always keep their sectors together. But back to the Crucial T500. Installation is straightforward if your system supports PCIe Gen 4 M.2 slots. It fits perfectly in slim desktops and laptops without needing extra cooling. This plug-and-play convenience is great, but don't let it mask the hidden speed throttles or firmware quirks some users face. Also, bear in mind that the T500's performance boost with Microsoft Direct Storage is a real plus for gamers using Windows 11, shortening game loading times up to 16%. Yet actual gains can vary depending on game titles and system specs, so don't expect magic every time. By now, you might be wondering, is the Crucial T500 a no-go or a hidden gem? The answer isn't black and white. If you're a content creator handling massive 4K or 8K video files regularly, or a hardcore gamer seeking every microsecond shaved off load times, the T500 offers some compelling features. However, if you need guaranteed steady performance during sustained workloads without thermal throttling, or your system doesn't fully support Gen 4, it might fall short of expectations. That's why you need to ask yourself, what's more important, raw peak speed or reliable consistency? Here's another joke for the road. Why did the SSD bring a ladder to work? Because it wanted to reach new heights in performance. And the Crucial T500 does try to do just that. But sometimes it needs to climb a bit more to stick the landing for heavy workflows. The good news is, if your system and use case align well with the T500's strengths, it can be a powerful upgrade delivering noticeable improvements in boot times, app launches, and data transfers. So what's the final verdict? Don't rush to buy the Crucial T500 blindly. Instead, match it carefully to your system compatibility, workload demands, and budget. If you decide this SSD ticks your boxes, you'll get one of the fastest Gen 4 drives on the market backed by Micron's trusted brand, a helpful software bundle, and a premium feel in a compact design. Just be prepared for some thermal management quirks and possible speed throttling under heavy usage. Ultimately, the Crucial T500 is not a flawed drive, but one designed with specific users in mind. Gamers and creatives who want blazing speeds and can accommodate its occasional limitations. If you know what to expect, it can be a solid performer and a worthy investment. If you're ready to take the plunge, don't forget to check the link in the description for the best price on Amazon right now. Remember, upgrades like this can make a massive difference in your gaming sessions and creative projects. Just pick wisely based on your needs. And if any questions pop up, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm here to help. Thanks for watching, and may your drives be fast and your workflows smooth.